Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kotaro and today I have one really interesting video. The video title is 12 things not to do in Japan. It's already translated to the Japanese, so I think it's like that things, 12 things not to do. So it's like kind of like taboo, and it's always fun. Like it's always fun to argue with like if you know the taboos, if you talk about taboos, and then you can understand the culture difference, and it's very fun. And now I'm gonna watch it as a Japanese guy. I'm from Japan. I'm in Kyoto and I'm making YouTube videos. So if you're interested in my other videos, just please smash the subscribe button and yeah, watch other videos. Today, 12 things not to do in Japan. Let's go. Hey.
It doesn't really work.
Oh yeah, so I started from here.
At all.
He has like 5 years of experience living in Japan, and yeah, he's gonna teach us the taboos in Japan.
So walking down the street whilst eating and drinking isn't illegal. You're not going to get shouted at and you're not going to get arrested by Ace Detective Sherlock Bones. But what you will get is the
It's not illegal. Yeah, it's true.
stare of disapproval. A lot of people don't know this one until you get here and never see anyone doing it. What you'll find is if someone wants...
He has never seen, but sometimes I do that. Like really small snacks, only get rice balls, maybe not hot dog, but because I think the problem is like in Japan, like Japanese food, we use the chopsticks, so it's really hard to eat food with like a chopstick while walking. So that is why he doesn't see anything. Like he has never seen that.
To eat or drink something quickly outside, they'll buy it at the convenience store and then eat it or drink it out the front. Same with vending machines. If they buy something from the vending machine, they'll drink it there and then next to the vending machine. The main reason is people are very conscious about keeping the streets clean here, and you don't want to ruin someone else's day by having them walk through your spilt coffee. That said, all you need to do...
Yeah, like coffee, like just take out the coffee and drinking and like shipping or walking, it's no problem. But the problem is, I would say, like we don't we have of course we have sandwiches, but we more like like noodles and like rice box bentos. So it's kind of like
to avoid the stare of disapproval is just stop and eat and drink whatever it is there and then. Maybe it's on a bench, maybe you're just standing at the side of the road, whatever. Just don't walk whilst eating and drinking and you'll be alright. Three things to point out here. Number one, never put your chopsticks upright into...
Okay, guys, never do that. Never do that. It's really bad.
...the rice, as this is part of a ritual conducted at funerals when offering rice to the spirits of the deceased. Similarly, number two, never pass things from chopstick to chopstick, because again, this is done during funerals to pass the bones of cremated relatives. So that kind of imagery doesn't go down well over dinner, as you'd expect. Probably best not to conjure up imagery surrounding death before you've even had your lunch. Oh, and thirdly, don't do the rubbing of the chopsticks. You know when you open wooden chopsticks, you like to do that to get rid of the splinters, and just because it's fun. Everyone loves doing that, right? But don't do
Everyone loves to do that? No, I haven't
do it in Japan because it's seen as rude to the owner, because you're basically saying, oh, your chopsticks.
But yes, putting chopstick on the rice is too bad.
Are probably cheap, which, let's face it, they probably are.
I never seen anyone done it. Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Probably the greatest thing about Japan ever, and the reason that I eat out several times a week, just because I save 20% automatically. In Japan, it's believed that customer service should always be exceptional, with staff giving 120% every time. 120%? 110%? 120% would be ridiculous. But it's not necessarily rude to tip someone, it just creates this awkward situation where the worker, the staff would...
Yeah, the tipping culture is not our culture. Like, you don't have to tip anywhere. You don't have to. Sometimes because of that, sometimes I get confused. Like when I go outside of the country, when I go foreign country abroad, I feel like, oh, should I tip? how much percent, like 5, 10, 15, I don't know. So yeah, we're not rated like
feel
this
like
kind of culture.
you're assessing their performance, and they could potentially lose
We don't have
face.
that.
So you might think you're being
No.
nice by giving someone a tip, but you're not. You're just
If you did this, then the stuff will follow you, and they will say like, hey, you've got your coins, you know. Yeah,
creating
like,
an uncomfortable situation for the worker, and
I've
they'll
never
probably
seen
just
anyone
reject your tip
a chip
outright. So don't be tempted
for
to do
food
it.
service, anything. No. Yeah, no.
There's
no.
a real emphasis on being mindful when you're using public transport in Japan that's often completely absent in many countries. Numerous of the times that
Yeah, pretty power of the mobile phone, but I think if you see the inside of the train, everyone using smartphones and typing, chatting, gaming, whatever, but never call, never talk on your phone. Yeah, this is
I've been
true.
riding a train in the UK, and someone nearby has been screaming at their partner down the phone, and I felt
Yeah.
like I was part of the argument.
Oh
Not
my
some
God, it's
kind
fun
of
to watch it.
unpleasant 4D experience. But given Japan's density, it's especially important to be mindful when you're stuffed in a train alongside fellow commuters, many of whom are sleeping as well. With that in mind, don't ever talk on your phone on the train. That's a massive no thing to do here. Even talking loudly is looked down upon. If you're on a local train or a subway train and you get a phone call, just ignore it until you get off. And if you're on a bullet train, you can go to the little compartment in between the carriages and take your call there.
Oh yeah, he knows a lot. Yeah, in the bullet train, there's space to talk because the bullet train, it should be like 20, 30, 1 hour, 2 hours ride. So yeah, you can talk on the phone if you move. Oh yeah.
I remember for the first few years that I lived here, whenever someone handed me a business card, I was utterly terrified because until then, business cards to me had always just been a bit of paper or a bit of card with some writing on. But in Japan, they are so much more. Once you've exchanged business cards...
Oh yeah, maybe that is true. I'm not so sure because I do not have many experience, like business experience, because I'm still a student. Yeah.
The trick is to imagine you've just been handed the lost
business card is very important.
Of El Salvador or something. First, study it meticulously, the name, the job position, the details, and then either put it in your business card holder or just put it on the desk if you're at a business meeting. Just put it on the table.
I guess.
Never play around with business cards or put them in your back pocket because they're seen as a physical extension of the person themselves, and you don't want to stuff somebody's physical extension down your back pocket. If you're doing business in Japan, always carry business cards. You don't want to be that awkward foreigner who stood there writing out their name and number 50 times in 1 hour on the back of a tissue. And for the record, I am usually that awkward foreigner scribbling down my details because I do forget to bring them, and subsequently I hate myself when it happens.
Yeah, spring seasons. Don't.
If you've got a
bro,
runny nose, standard procedure here is just to keep sniffing, or just to find a toilet or a broom cupboard to hide in. Blowing noses in public is pretty rude. Interestingly though, handkerchiefs are pretty popular here. Not in the way you would think though. People use them to wipe sweat off in the hot summer.
Yeah, I've seen many times like the foreigners, the travelers, they're blowing their nose with handkerchief, but actually we don't do that. We just blow our nose like with tissues, only tissues. Yeah, but for me, I do not care. Sometimes I do it with towel kit, handkerchief, but my friends was like, "Oh, oi, what are you doing?" I'm just blowing my nose, but they can understand. They think it's so dirty, and most of Japanese think it's dirty. So yeah, you better bring your own tissues, and yeah. And for me, my personal opinion, I do not like to hear the sounds someone sniffing. It's so disgusting for me. So I would prefer to blowing nose, but I think most people do the sniffing. in a public place.
Weather, or even more commonly to dry their hands in public toilets. Because surprisingly, many public toilets in Japan don't have any hand drying facilities, despite having space-age toilets that reside in the same room. It's quite a weird contrast that I don't quite understand.
Oh yeah. Get
Physical contact in Japan isn't really a thing. You'll bow a lot, you'll nod enthusiastically daily, but occasionally...
Oh yeah, I don't know, he's cool.
You might shake hands with someone if they're a good friend or a business client that you get on well with, but generally I avoid it unless someone makes the first move. And hugging in particular doesn't go down
last summer.
well. It's just met with expressions of awkwardness and despair. And also amongst couples, public displays of affection are phenomenal.
Yeah, they get physical. Not many. I'm not seeing like between friends, but just best friend. Yeah, you can do that. You can shake hands, and also I like hugging. But if you meet someone it's first time, you should avoid doing handshaking. It's too much. Yeah, I think.
Phenomenally rare here, so don't be surprised if you get the stare of disapproval if you're kissing your partner frantically in the street.
In the street, no. Yeah. I do not really care because I have some experience, like I was living in Australia and Mexico, so yeah, I just don't really care about it. But maybe I think shake hand is okay, but we do not hug and we do not kiss.
And I think that it should definitely be this. If you're the sort of person who feels the need to have a debate or an argument about things or throw your opinions out there constantly, people will find you obnoxious and dislikable and probably just avoid you. Embedded heavily within the culture is this idea of keeping harmony.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we care. We really care the harmonies and the groups, and we don't want to be like opposite side,
avoiding conflict at all costs, and it's a lot easier to do that when people aren't at each other's throats throwing around opinions. Sometimes it can be frustrating when people are just unwilling to speak their minds or give you a clear...
That is why, like Japanese people, we're not good at debating. Yeah, we just want to keep the harmony.
Yes or no answer. I mean, one time, one of my colleagues when I was teaching, I asked him, "Do you have any pets?" And he said to me, "Maybe my cat is dead." Maybe your cat is dead. What does that mean? It is dead or is it not dead? It's not Schrodinger's cat, is it? It turned out the cat was definitely dead, but he was just...
I think it's his specific experience. If my pet died, I would say, yeah, my pet died.
Sort of person that always likes to use the word maybe and just not express certainty. But if there's one reason I've never seen a fight anywhere in Japan in the last 5 years, it's probably this reason. That people are a lot more careful about expressing their opinions and holding back what they really think.
I agree.
Yeah, I couldn't be bothered to film that one. Everyone seems to know this one already anyway. When visiting someone's house or entering a public building like a school or going to a hot spring, you take off your shoes and switch to slippers before you go in. The easiest way of knowing if you have to change your shoes is there'll be a change in elevation in the floor. So when you go in, there'll be a little stair, and that's when you know. This is the one thing on the list where failing to stick to the rules will have noticeable results. A few years ago, a friend and I visited a public bathhouse in Kyoto, and we went in, and you're supposed to take your shoes off. For some reason he didn't. I don't know why. I don't think he noticed or saw. There was a little old woman sitting behind the entrance counter where you kind of pay, and when we walked in, she saw that he still had his shoes on, and she shot up with terrifying energy and ran over and grabbed him and took him to the front and was like, "Get your shoes off, get your shoes off."
Wow. It's kind of like trauma experience.
And that image has stayed burnt into my mind. This quiet little old woman suddenly becoming so alive and animated by this terrible event. And ever since then, I've never forgotten to take my shoes off when entering a building.
Oh yeah, I can understand that feelings. It's been such an... Yeah, I know what you were... Yeah.
For whatever reason, rubbish bins and trash cans are disturbingly rare in Japan. Outside of convenience stores, it can be a nightmare to find one. And the reason I put this on the list is because so many people, so many of you guys, message me on Twitter saying, "I'm in Tokyo."
Yeah, it's really rare. It's hard to find trash bins. Even like we have you could double times of the vending machine, but they don't have trash bins, so it's really hard. You just have to take your trash to your home.
And I can't find a bin. What should I do? I've wandered through Tokyo for up to 20 minutes.
Go to convenience
just
store
in search of a bin and can't
or gas
find
station.
one. The
If you have a
streets,
car.
though, despite that, are shockingly clean here because people, if they can't find a bin, they just take the rubbish home with them. It can feel like some kind of mini game sometimes, going in search of a bin, because when you do find a bin, you feel a real sense of achievement. But despite that, don't be tempted to litter. Just keep trying, and you'll find a bin one day. Seems like a fairly obvious addition to the list, and yet in the UK we just cross the street whenever the hell we want, whenever there's an opening in traffic, as opposed to waiting for the green light, same as many countries. In Japan, however, people do not cross the road on a red light. It's incredibly rare, and it's one of the greatest ways of seeing this sense of order and obedience to the law that exists in Japan. I prefer to wait until it turns blue, green, whatever. But sometimes I go if it's a small town and if there's no car and if I'm alone, I will go. But if someone's waiting on the other side, I'll wait anytime. If you stand
I
at
think
a
we
roadside
respect the
in
rules,
Japan, there's no
but
cars
more
coming.
like we don't like to be seen like a bad stranger, like rule breaker. We don't want to be like that.
I think you can't see any cars whatsoever. People still will not cross the road until it goes green. Over the years of the many friends I've had come to visit me here, this is the thing that shocks them the most. The idea of not crossing the street when there's no visible cars there. The idea of abiding by a rule that doesn't seem necessary. And yet for me personally, the main reason I abide by it is after a few years of being here, you don't want to stand out. You don't want to be this stereotypical rule-breaking foreigner. And as well as that, you don't want to run the risk of getting caught out by the police. So those are two things worth taking into consideration before you dash across the seemingly empty road. And the last one, don't worry about not knowing anything about Japanese etiquette when you come to Japan. As I said earlier in this video, there aren't going to be any real consequences to not following any of these things, apart from maybe the footwear one. That's quite scary. You don't want to get dragged off by an old woman. The reason I say don't worry too much is because I find a lot of
that's a good point. Don't worry too much.
people come here and they're very nervous and very anxious about following the etiquette they don't really comprehend. And that includes even me. When I came here, I didn't know anything. And I was constantly anxious and nervous that I was making mistakes. But really, as a foreigner in Japan, you get a kind of a free pass to make mistakes. People are understanding and they're kind and they will let you off. So don't become too nervous about following all the rules. Do your best, but don't become a nervous wreck. So those are my 12 things not to do in Japan. But what have I missed out? Let us know in the comments section below. I've probably missed out. Don't ever be late. And don't enter a bath or a hot spring without having a shower first. Those are probably the other two key ones.
Don't forget taking a shower.
And now they're on the list. So this is actually 14 things not to do in Japan. So bonus stuff there. It's Christmas, so you get extra content.
Happy Christmas. So is this Christmas? Very happy you don't.
Have I seen it before? It's a bit familiar to me. I don't know. I don't know shit. So I think it's a really good point. You don't have to be so nervous before you come to Japan. And I think most of tourists enjoyed my country. The one thing, like putting chopsticks on the rice was very bad. But except that thing, it should be okay. If you understand. And so nothing to worry. No worry. And thank you so much for watching my videos. This was a long video, and my name is Kotaro, and I'm doing a reaction. And if the border is open, now it's we're in quarantine, but if the border is open, I want to travel. I want to make more travel vlogs. So if you're interested in my journey, please smash the subscribe button and press the like button. Okay, thanks so much. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego. Adiós.
Este romance entre tú y yo no lo supe.